Man, that was a silly and fun boss fight. Or was it? Hey there, viewer. It's me, YouTuber with a strange name they can't quite pronounce correctly the first time. If it wasn't obvious, I love games. Playing games, even just watching someone play a game is so entertaining. In a way, it's kind of like reading a book or watching a movie. Although, I would argue that games could be a lot more hard-hitting for the simple fact that you're the one experiencing it. Sure, while watching the Alien movies, you can see how much of a badass Ripley is, and we can cheer her on, making us more attached to her, and in the long run, make us all want to kill ourselves at the thought of her coming back in Resurrection. Why did you do it, Weaver? Why? Why? When playing Alien Isolation, it's different. You aren't watching someone fight against a threat. You are the one fighting against the threat. Where are you going with this? I hear your ADHD mind tell me. It's okay, I'm getting bored just writing this. What I'm trying to say is that games can be more impactful, however the game can never always stay impactful. There has to be some downtime in between these moments for the player to calm down, so that they aren't bombarded. The way around this? These high points in games have been around since the arcade era. Because of this, it makes it a bit harder to talk about. The only real difference is that arcade games were basically one big level with a at the end. Beating it just restarted the game. I believe that this, along with a ton of other reasons, is why arcade games did so well. However, with the NES and the view shifting to home consoles, it was a bit harder to implement these kinds of without repeating what you could have experienced in arcades. Think about it. You have to make a game that's way different from arcade games in order to sell not only your game, but also the system that the game is on. Why would I want to play Super Mario Bros. And not whatever this is? What's happening? The way to combat this question? Levels! But you can't just add levels and have no finish. You need something to top everything that you just did. While arcade games are junk food, home consoles are fine meals that you need to sit down and eat. You can't have dinner without any dessert. What's for dessert? Well, you might be a bit surprised to hear about this, but while these were cool, that's all they were. Just cool. While games evolve, they continue to give bosses more and more attributes to make them more fun to fight, even more satisfying to beat. Look at Mega Man, for example. You have bosses at the end of these levels, but what makes them so much fun to fight against are weaknesses. And some boss power-ups are super effective against others, which makes players engaged to play, especially when some bosses are super difficult to fight against without said weaknesses. And I'm still talking about games from the 80s to 90s, we're in 2024, Grandpa! Clearly we've evolved to the point where bosses are flawlessly placed into games that just feel right. But I think we could do better. These are some good boss fights, but I'm not looking for good. I'm looking for great. Hey, remember when I said earlier that I liked games? Well, I also love allegories, so... The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Nice computer you got here. Can I have it?
Hey, look at this little guy. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa! What's important about Order inside Order, is the fact that he basically made everyone in Angopolis into an empty husk. So not only are you fighting him because he's the big bad, but you're also fighting him for the lives of others, for the sake of the entire world, possibly. Man, this is the second time in this game that the entire world is in danger. You know, I'm starting to notice a pattern. I think you could argue that Tartar is more filling of the title of Conquest, due to him trying to take over the world. And while fighting Tartar is super fun with Fly Octo Fly being one of the best songs ever heard by human ears, there's one thing that Order's boss fight does perfectly. Hype power. Having Pearl be the companion during the story was perfect because she's the polar opposite to Order. She's an anarchist. She goes against Order for the sole reason of what you want is lame. Granted, this is simplifying everything, but my point still stands. Even after we're knocked to the ground, we stand tall with Pearl helping us, and while fighting Order... Wait, a tiny bit of context here.
Throughout the story, we go through many challenges that reward you with pallets that not only look edible, but also upgrade your character. These go from making your character faster, to making the Pearl drone stronger, attack more, etc.
Oh god. Please, don't do that again, please. That really hurt. While fighting Order, you start to get every single palette available, which just makes your character super powerful. You start tearing through waves of enemies that you struggled with, not to mention this beautiful song is playing. This is a common thing throughout Splatoon campaigns. fighting the final boss with the most heavenly music in the background with the idols singing and cheering you on from behind. It's even more impactful here because it's the third game. We have more of an attachment to Marina and Pearl. Not only that, but the conversations in the elevator that can't help but hammer in the status of Pearl and Marina. Order is just an amazing boss fight, and I love fighting him every single playthrough, even if he is just a little baby man.
War never changes.
Zan. Oh, Zan. Zan is such an underrated boss fight in any Zelda game. Oh, look at me. I'm Ocarina of Time. The boss fight is all dark because it's so dramatic. Shut up! Shut up. Shut up. Zan says war for the simple reason that he's trying to get rid of the world of light, have it all under Twilight. You could say this is more conquest than war, but the difference is that Order was already in power, and he was doing his job as he saw fit. Zan's lore was literally that nobody liked him and he accepted Ganon as basically a god. He literally stormed Hyrule Castle and forced Zelda to either surrender or die. Which is more conquest than war, but shut up! Not only that, but you can see the fear that it puts in the characters around Link as he ventures through Hyrule. People are scared for their lives. Even when they're locked up together, they stick up close to ensure everyone's safe from the creatures outside. Even after this guy... Hang on, what was his name again? Oh, okay. Even after Barnes and Noble here starts describing a woman in the area dying to a Twilight creature, he starts fucking whimpering. Are you serious right now? You're gonna go on and on about how everyone's gonna die when there are kids around here, and then you're just gonna start doing that? Don't do that! What are you It's serious, and it feels so unique compared to any other Zelda game. But we got a tiny bit off track here. What about Zan's boss fight? Oh, it's fantastic. Not only does it have a good introduction showing off how crazy he is, but it also shows how powerful he is. But on the opposite side, it also shows how powerful you are. He teleports you to different boss areas from each corner of the game. You have to use weapons that you use then to damage him now. Zelda used to struggle with this mentality that when you get a weapon in a dungeon, you use that weapon against the boss and proceed to never use it again. But in Twilight Princess, it's all used here, and it really makes you feel like everything you got until now was just an arsenal for this boss fight. Something that you prepared for that you didn't even know was going to happen. That is when items like the Gale Boomerang and the Ball Chain feel amazing, when a scenario happens and you immediately know what to do. It's one of the most important pieces of creating a good boss fight, making it feel second nature, but still keeping that impact of it's me or him. I mean, look at this ugly ass motherfucker. He's blue, and he looks terrifying when running at you from a distance. But what makes him different from Zan? It's the fact that you can kill this guy with a couple hits with your sword. But Zan, you need to think outside the box a tiny bit. You look around your environment and know instantly on what to do. You understand the mission even though it isn't outright told to you. A perfect mesh of regular gameplay and boss battles. This is only complemented by the fact that he basically runs away anytime you get close to him, which makes the moments where you do hit him feel even better. Not only that, but the music is a perfect mesh of ooh, spooky and cryptic, while also having the moments from the original songs, with said moments coming in and out, giving the impression that the song is coming at you. It all culminates in a final showdown where he has nowhere else to teleport you other than right in front of Hyrule Castle. A very clear reminder to why this fight is so important. The music speeds up. He looks around terrified and weakened as he chases you down and fights you until his last breath. The entire fight shows how strong you've become with your weapons and gives off a feeling of only one more thing to do now. After Xanth is defeated, killed. He gets killed! You then have to storm Hyrule Castle to face off Ganon. And he's cool and all, but I don't give a fuck!
Plus, I personally believe Zan's fight was better than Ganon's. Okay, time for transition!
Bad crap? Bro, we're gonna start.
V2 is a very special kind of boss, as he has the trope of being the same as the protagonist but stronger. But in this case, he's not. He actively runs around and away from the player during and after the first encounter in Limbo. It moves and shoots just like a real person would, which makes it even harder since his hitbox is the same as a snack stick bag. Mankind is dead, blood is fuel, hell is full is the mission statement of Ultra Kill, and fighting enemies heals you by dousing yourself in blood. But with V2 it's harder because, like I just said, he runs away from you. You have to juggle regaining health, dodging bullets, and actually hitting V2 when it has to worry about all those things too. Minus regaining health, V2 can't regain health because Akita is a fucking pussy. At first, you don't kill him, no. Instead, you find him later again in Act 2 of the game, in the Greed Ring. He sits there, almost as if he's been waiting for you the entire time.
I thought this was a first-person shooter.
V2 is also one of the best examples I have to show that playing a game in a harder difficulty makes it more engaging. Even after getting more weapons and tactics to fight enemies, he's still so hard to fight against. You can't help but feel as if you're weak as you were back then. But you persevere, and in the end, he starts to run away, but V1 isn't gonna let that happen. And in one of the coolest moments of Ultra Kill, you chase him down while sliding on a pyramid. I feel like I just have to say this out loud. You're a robot who runs on blood to fight, who's entered hell because mankind is dead, killing every demon you find. You find another upgraded version of yourself, destroy it, and take his arm as a reward. I just think that's a little neat. Now you might be commenting, but
Sanguine.
V2 should have been a war because he's a war robot. Which is true, but we don't get to actually see V2 do anything outside of our encounters. Granted, it can be implied because of his different weapons, but it's not the same. We see in Violence, Sword Machine, and the Gutterman actually fight each other, compared to V2 being bored as hell. This doesn't mean that they're cooler than V2. V2 is still one of the coolest bosses in Ultra Kill, even among the best ones, I'd say. Flowey is one of, if not the best boss fight in this entire list. He is such a consistent villain throughout Undertale, and whenever he's on screen it's always a joy. Even when he's only mentioned, he's filled with such malice that perfectly contracts his own design. Flowey shows the importance of death in a story for the simple idea of the 6 human souls. Let's be real for a moment. The human souls have almost no relevancy throughout both the true pacifist and genocide playthroughs for the simple fact that you're paying attention to other things. A bit of an unpopular opinion, or as the kids say nowadays, a hot take, neutral run is underrated. Both the true pacifist and genocide runs, while being amazing from a narrative standpoint, are plagued by the fact that the game knows it's a game, which forces the player to only like it from that viewpoint. After Flowey absorbs every monster soul and the 6 human souls, turning into Asriel again, you can't really place yourself in Frisk's shoes just from all the meta talk from Asriel. The neutral run does this, but to a much lesser extent. Flowey absorbs all the human souls and turns into a god, and just like any good god, we can kill him. Throughout the fight, you just keep fighting as much as you can, but to basically no avail as you can only do 1 damage. But every now and then, Flowey glitches out and uses the human souls to attack you. Every soul has their own segment to themselves, which gives us small information about what they were doing when they were still alive in the underground. While exploring the overworld, or should I say underground, you can find some equipment that belonged to the humans when they were still alive. At first, it's a bit strange finding them without any context, that is, but during the Omega Flowey boss fight, everything clicks. One of the biggest factors of the game's story up until now, the human souls, Flowey is taking advantage of all of them and using them against you. However, you're too weak to do anything, so all you can do is call for help, until...
Bazinga! Bazinga! Bazinga!
With one of the best songs in the game, with the best drop ever made, oh yeah, it's on. After seemingly defeating him, he regains all his health and toys around with your death, letting you call for help one last time. But nobody came.
Whoa, 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 hey!
You're given one last decision on what to do with Flowey,
No matter who you are, even if you're the nicest person in the world, there's still a right decision here. But despite what just happened, we spare him. Because hey, who are we to decide who lives and who dies? And that's it. Bye. Actually, no. Fuck these layers of text. I'm not done. There's still so many amazing boss fights out there that just don't fit into this allegory that I still want to talk about. But, you know, if I seem a little hesitant about it at first, that'll open up a gag for me to start talking super fast. Wasn't Wheatley's final boss in Portal 2 so good, especially with all the build-up, and it makes the story really come to a full circle? All the cores and so unique and quirky and all of them. I love the music, it's so perfect for this situation because it really feels like a song of betrayal. On the topic of totally not Undertale games, I fucking love Spamton so much. His initial boss fight isn't a lot to write home about, but both of his Neo boss fights are amazing, especially with him actually talking in the background of the song, and him using Mettaton Neo's body, and also having his motif in the background. What about Dark Bowser from Bowser's Inside Out story on DS? It's actually give Bowser a personality and actually makes him feel like he's grown stronger from the course of the game, especially when in the beginning of the game we kicked his ass easily. So the fact that we're playing him now makes us feel like a sense of accomplishment. What about Metal Sonic from literally any point of the Sonic series? He's literally so cool and such a perfect enemy for Sonic, especially sometimes he could be a pushover in the games, but in the comics he's such a roadblock, and I don't think Sonic's ever beaten him by himself in the Sonic series specifically. Super cool. Oh my god, and that's it.